What does Uncle Dana have in store for us? Week number 2 away from the baby cage. We've got UFC Fight Night in Hot Atlanta. And I got the Apex Predators of the Octagon here, the Sports Money MMA team and MMA Jeff and Subhuman Gaucho. MMA Jeff, are you ready to strike with First Strike?
I'm looking forward to this card. You know, we had 13 fights down to 12, up to 13. We've had so many mixes and matches. I think we're still in for an action-packed card. I think I tell you what, I'm excited about some of these fights. I'm excited about some of the last-minute swap-outs, and I think we're going to see some action. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's the question, Sub. Do we get violence? Do we get judge decisions? Do we get judge effery? What say you?
Well, yeah, you can usually count on at least some judge quackery in there for sure. Yeah, I think we see some violence though. I think we've got 5 or 6 totals that are set at 1.5, and I think the majority of those probably do go under the 1.5. So yeah, I think Atlanta will be pumped. I think we'll see some violent fights here.
Well, we're down to business. First Strike's purpose is to give you guys the 3 early looks. We feel you can beat the books. We're going to get right down to business. No time to waste. We got MMA Jeff going to kick us off. And everybody knows the best fighters are from Philadelphia. Jeff, what say you? Or are you going the other way? Talk to us about how you're getting paid.
Yeah, Mike, I figured you were going to comment on the Petrosky side of things at 34 years old, born and raised in Chester, PA, still living in the Philadelphia area. So he's slightly shorter. I don't know if that's going to play too much into he's slightly shorter. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a disadvantage. I think it's 6'2" versus 6 foot. So he does have a slightly less of a reach in this fight. He's a reasonably tough fighter. He's an impressive 8-2 in the UFC. He's 0-1 in the LFA. Now, 8-2, 0-1, 3 total losses as a pro. Every single one of those losses came by KO. In fact, he actually knocked himself out last year running into, whose knee did he run, or thigh did he run into? Malkoon's thigh, I believe it was. He got himself wobbled. He ended up dropping down to the mat, and he got ground and pounded. That was a tough one there. I think he was shooting for a takedown actually in that one. As a fighter, he does stay very active though. He had 5 fights in 2024, which you gotta appreciate that. Now the guy's 8-2 in the UFC, and he's had 5 fights last year alone. So he hasn't really been around too long, but he does have fighting experience against the better fighters. He's a grappler. He's pretty solid grappler. He's an even better wrestler. He's got powerful bombs, but he throws unorthodox bombs. He doesn't really have tactical methods. He just kind of throws power and hopes something sticks. He does like to look for the takedowns and try to get the wins by finishing his opponents by smothering them on the mat, wearing them around, just tiring them out. I think his last 3 or 4 fights have actually gone to decision. You got Shabazian on the other side at 27 years old. He's a younger fighter. He's 14-5 as a pro. All of his losses coming into the UFC, where he now sits 7-5. He's a very durable fighter. He doesn't get touched up a lot. He doesn't get finished a lot. He's got very powerful shots. He lacks a little in the wrestling, but when he does get taken down, he does find the tendency to pop right back up. He doesn't. His grappling's pretty decent. His wrestling might not be on point, but his grappling, he can certainly find his way off the mat onto the feet. He said in his interview he's feeling good for this fight. He's excited. He's been doing a lot of training on the grappling side and wrestling sides of things. He thinks he can hang with Petrosky, however the fight goes. He also followed that up by saying he always does like a good quick finish. And he said he wants to make a highlight reel for his newly born son. So he's going to be out there trying to make this thing very exciting. In my opinion, this should be an action-packed, exciting fight, depending on the direction that it takes. You got Petrosky, who I would imagine is going to be aggressively looking for takedowns, and then slowing it down, like I said, with the wrestling. Now, that doesn't seem like a very action-packed fight. However, like I said, you got Shabazian with his ability to get back up. I think if he gets taken down, he's going to pop back up on the feet. I think he's going to ultimately, as tough as both these fighters are, I think Shabazian's the more powerful and the more tactical striker. At some point, Petrosky is going to take some heavy shots that he's not going to like. He's either going to get dropped and finished, or he's going to get dropped and ground and pound to end this fight. I don't see this one going the distance. Even though these are both tough fighters, I'm taking the favorite here. However, I'm not going to give the favorite out at minus money. I'm going to go with the favorite, Shabazian, by KO at plus 140. Now, make sure you do shop this around because I saw some crazy numbers. I saw plus 110, plus 120. The best number I saw at this point was plus 140 over at Bet Online. But that's how I'm getting paid in this one. And I'm excited to hear Mike's take on this Thug Rose versus Maverick. Mike, how do you feel about Thug Rose? What are your thoughts? Do you think Thug's going to get it done? Do you think Maverick's going to pull the upset at the co-main?
Co-main event, Jeff, you know the deal here. We're looking at a couple of things when it comes down to this fight. First and foremost, Rose Namajunas. A ton of mileage in the ring. Her UFC mileage started 11 years ago. She's got some 24 fights under her belt. And we're looking on the other side of things here with Miranda Maverick. The Maverick coming in, a couple of years, her junior, 5. I think those 5 years mean she's a little more fresh. If we look at some of the recent opportunities here with Rose Namajunas, we'll go back. I say recent. My opinion, she's past this prime, if you will. Her time of getting fight of the nights and fight bonus, Weili Zhang defending her title out there, back-to-back spots, impressive. But that was like 3.5, 4 years ago. Since then, what has she done? Well, she's moved up a division. She's bulked up with another 10 pounds of weight, but that's all she's done is bulked up. She just looks big and a little bit slow. Now, you could argue she can go out there and she's going to want to be aggressive. She's going to want to keep this fight standing because what have we seen is when she goes to the ground, especially as of late, she doesn't do anything to get up. In fact, she struggles because maybe it's that extra weight she's carrying around. Maybe it's just a fact of, hey, she thinks that she can go out there and continue to get judges scoring in her direction. But man, you look at her last 4 or 5 fights, they've all been, unanimous decisions. She's just 2-2 in those spots. And the fighters that she's fought also have been, I think, a little bit past their prime. She did get an Aaron Blanchfield, 13-6 Aaron Blanchfield back in 2024. But, another UNAM decision loss out there. Just boring fights. This is definitely on par for 2024 style WMMA. I don't envision that we see any sort of finish in this one, but look, fear the Miranda Maverick coming in this one. I mentioned she's a little younger. She does practice at altitude in Denver, which I think gives her the stamina balance, and she's a lay and pray. She just wants to get on top, ride you out, and finish this thing. She's not afraid to go to a judge's scorecard either. So does this become the boring fight of the night? I think it does, but you look back here, we've got a 4-fight win streak with Miranda Maverick coming into this thing. And frankly, I think this is just as simple as we got the younger fighter. We've got the one that likes to wrestle. We've got a heavier fighter that doesn't really exhibit power, although she can. And the other side of things here with Rose, I just don't think that's the type of fight we see. I think this thing does get down. Maybe it's a shot takedown that brings down, Rose, but once she goes down, I don't see her getting back up. Defensive-oriented Miranda Maverick, what does scare me, does she move forward and try to shoot a takedown and catches a counter from Rose? Because she does have that silky fight game, and there's nothing wrong with firing some counter jabs and knocking somebody out. Man, we saw that one touch last week, and it put that guy down right off the bat. But I just don't think that's the case here. I think we've got an older Rose fighting at a heavier weight class. Hasn't necessarily led the strength to back it up. She's just older now. And just because she's bigger doesn't mean she's better. Couldn't beat Blanchfield. She did hurt her hand, I believe, against Fiora there. And who knows how that fight would have gone if she didn't. Give her credit for getting through that thing. But I just think this is an opportunity for us to go back to the dog in the co-main event at a great price tag at plus 210. Younger fighter. Wrestling is going to overtake any kind of striking that takes place in this battle here. Rose is happy to catch a paycheck, and we're going to catch a paycheck with Miranda Maverick. I like this fight to go to decision with Miranda to get it by decision as well, but I won't be split decisioning this one here. We got too many UNAMs. It just says boring fights, boring fight of the night, big casher of the night, that plus 210 with the co-main. And that's the deal here. We got Ochoa and Durden. We got subhuman Gaucho. He's coming in ready to fire. Let's hear his breakdown on how he's getting paid.
Okay, well, thank you, fellas. Looking forward to this one. We've got what I think is going to be a really action-packed fight. Really high in this Ochoa kid. Just 24 now. He did lose that 0 most recently to Lonnie Kavanaugh. Fun fight. I enjoyed watching that one back. Be all that said, I tend to think Ochoa wins this fight. This isn't going to be my official play for the show, but I do have a pretty sizable Ochoa bet. It's starting to get a little bit chalky now. This one opened up a pick'em, and he's gotten steamed considerably. Now on the other side, Cody Durden, very different place in his career. Just 2-3 in his last 5, and he's 34 years old. It's kind of do or die time. He's such a fun fighter. I don't know if the promotion would necessarily cut him with a loss, but it's certainly something I think they'd probably be considering. A lot of tread on the tires with Cody Durden. Tons of UFC experience. I think he's 12 fights in now, 6-5-1, but to his credit, he's fought really some of the best of the best. And so he's got to go. And to his credit, he is down at ATT, has been for, I think, at least 3 months now, away from his family, concentrating exclusively on this camp. So I think he knows what's at stake. And I think for that reason, Cody Durden is going to come out, shot out of a cannon, I expect, right from round 1, as he often is. But in addition to, him being all in on this camp, this is his backyard. He's from this region here. So Atlanta's going to be loud for him. They're going to be popping. But in the end, Cody's taken a lot of damage throughout his career. He's been finished in 2 out of his last 3 losses. And the fight that he did not get finished in, the Joshua Van fight, he took a great deal of damage. And it's really just a credit to him and his toughness that he did not end up getting finished. But in the end, as I said, I think Cody's going to be, all gas, no brakes right from the jump here. And Ochoa, that's how he fights too. He's a Peruvian guy, like a lot of these Peruvians. He's got a great chin, great gas tank, just never stops. And while he lost to Loney Kavanaugh recently, he put on quite a show as a nearly 3-1 underdog. And it really took Loney kind of being evasive and, trying to stay out of a firefight. Well, Cody Durden, he doesn't really do that. He's a come forward guy. These guys are going to meet in the center and they're going to throw. And, while Ochoa has maybe some questions about his ground game, they really are just questions. There's nothing to think that it's bad. And actually, there's a lot of reasons to think that he's got a lot of upside there. So Cody Durden, very good wrestler. He will try to force some grappling exchanges. And I think either of these guys could submit. And while Ochoa's never been finished, Durden's got a little bit of power in his own. In the end here, I think Ochoa gets him out, but fight does not go the distance at -125. I think is a great price. We've seen Durden have a ton of success early in fights. And as I said, I think he comes out of this one fired up in his backyard. So looking forward to it. All that said, check into the playbook. I'll have a bunch of PFL plays up for tomorrow night, Thursday. Looking forward to that card an awful lot. And, of course, looking forward to the live stream on Saturday.
Gentlemen, great job as always. Ready for a big UFC card. I love that you mentioned PFL. I got a couple plays I'll drop in the playbook for the PFL as well. So we'll make sure we get that out to you guys bright and early tomorrow with time to go take some action. Thursday night will be fun. We're going to be rocking Saturday with the big UFC live stream. Nobody helps you get better, more prepared for your UFC battles than the First Strike team. You can follow Jeff at MMA Jeff on Twitter, my guy at Subhuman Gaucho. I'm your boy at PimpSlapPOD. And check it out. Really breaking news this week. The Instagram account, Sports Money Network, is loaded. We're going to be doing a lot more fun things over there as well. Good luck with your action. Good luck with your prep.